Hello, everyone. So I felt like coming on and offering my perspective on how we, in our fight to be right and in our fight to prove and separate things, we kind of block ourselves, like as a collective, in not collaborating but trying to argue which one is right and true. We lose so much of the potential that we have, and I'm going to explain what I mean about that or with that. And this is something I often reflect upon because I really know and feel in my whole being that there's another way of doing things, and we could get so much further by seeing how everything is connected and how everything can serve each piece of the puzzle. So what I'm talking about right now is mostly like this war or this separation between psychology, spirituality, science, how often each of these parts want to be right, and that one of them is right and the others are not. And for me personally, what I really have seen and experienced is that science, spirituality, and psychiatry, they're like interconnected. They are really the same things at its core, but expressed in very different ways. And if scientists could collaborate with psychiatrists and psychics and healers and whatever, like just people within the spiritual community, we would get so much further as a species, because when we are just choosing one, like right now we are so focused on science and proving and technology, and that is very good, but without the part of psychiatry and spirituality. So for me it's like science, it's the intellect, it's the mind, and then we have psychiatry, which is also the mind, but this more like the psyche, the deeper things that are going on. And then we have spirituality, which is like the embodiment of everything, and emotion and feeling and soul and essence. So all of these things in collaboration would be like this beautiful expansion for humanity, because we wouldn't like lose time to argue which one is right. We would just like collaborate and get much further. And the thing about this is that people are afraid, and people don't want to admit that they are wrong, but it's not about being wrong. That's not the thing. It's just that it's scary for people to see that, or even let go of what they once held very dearly. And if you truly like have this curiosity, then you have this openness for the old things to go away so that you can see things in another way. And many people in each of these, I don't know how to call it, like subjects or parts of life, have a very dogmatic way of being. So like we are very dogmatic at our core, and if we don't work through that dogmatic programming we have, we will bring it into whatever we're doing. So if you're dogmatic in science, and you're dogmatic in spirituality, and you're dogmatic in religion, and you're dogmatic in psychiatry, you will lose so much of what is being offered as a whole, because you will just be so focused on one thing or one aspect. And just, I feel like we're changing, like we're going into this new time, new time, where we begin to collaborate, where we begin to see that like these things aren't separate from each other, and that there's no need for competition. Like if it's like we feel like, oh my God, if we give spirituality or psychiatry more attention, then science will lose or get less. But actually, like, it's this lack mentality that we have. But actually, if we like rise up within one and allow those others to rise with them, we will rise up everything. Do you see what I mean? Like, our way of resonating and thinking is very irrational because it's based on fear, and it's based on dogma. It's based on wanting to have things a certain way and just like that's it. And that is just like not scientific in itself. And of course there are many scientists and psychiatrists and psychologists and healers and psychics and like what have you that are not dogmatic. But overall, in the mainstream, things are very dogmatic. People are very resistant to changing how they see things, how they relate to things. And that creates blockages from our full potential, because we are so focused on one thing that we forget that we are actually many things and we have many aspects. Like a human being isn't just one thing, exactly like the earth isn't just one thing, and exactly like one thing can't be right. And for some people, choosing one path works, but for many others, like for me myself, I have never walked one single path. I have always taken what resonates with me and like what moves my soul and my heart, and allowed that to integrate within me and move me. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to be like me. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that there's another way of doing things and another way of seeing things that might be better for us as a whole. Like, as humans, it's so much better for us to collaborate and support one another than to compete with each other. Like, haven't we already learned this? Competing with each other isn't going to help. It's just not. Like, you might get something out of it for some time, and then like what, you killed thousands of people. How is that really the way to be? Like, that's not really good for the whole. So it also reflects on a very immature and uncivilized society and culture and world, because we are like these teenagers who constantly try to get everything for ourselves and compete with each other. It's like a kindergarten or like a high school. Like the earth is like a big high school with all this bullying and competing and like these are the popular, these are not like it's just crazy. And we don't see that we are a big family, and if we take care of each other, if we take care of the earth, that will just create a so much better place for everyone. And we are capable of doing that, but we do need to change the way we see things, and we do need to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable and get things like change and be able to admit, like, okay, you know what, maybe I was wrong, maybe there is another way of doing things, and that doesn't mean that I am stupid, or that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me in the first place. It just means that I have grown. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Like, if you begin to see that what you once thought was true is not resonating anymore, then you have grown. And even though that is scary, and I totally, truly get that, because I am not like still the best with change, but I am learning that change, like every ending, is a new beginning. And if I allow myself to let go, then that is just proof that I have grown. That is proof that I have done things that have allowed me to get out of my comfort zone and see things in another way. And that just can't be bad, that just can't be like, yes, it can be scary, but that doesn't equal bad. I feel like I don't really like using bad and good, but I feel like it's much worse to hold on to something and stick to it for their life just for the sake of not changing and going into those scary things, because sometimes we hold up things that really aren't working and serving, but we just keep on doing them on autopilot because we feel like there's not another way. But there is another way, and we can, if we want, we really can create another way of being on this earth, and we can create heaven on earth. We can create a planet where all people have food, electricity. We can do that. We have the resources, we have the money, but when money is so, like, there's such a big extreme, like, of so rich people, extremely rich people that just want more and more, and then extremely poor people who die every single day because they don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have the basic human needs. That is just not a healthy, balanced world. And I am truly surprised of how comfortable people are with not wanting to see that, because like I really believe that you can't really feel good. Of course you can, but you can't really feel good when you are hurting other people to achieve something. Like, even if it's not a conscious thing, if you have to fuck someone over, kill something, cut off a whole forest, and just do things that are so egoistical, there is a part of you, like your soul and parts of your psyche, that just can't feel good about that, like truly really feel good about that, because it's just not in our nature to want to hurt each other. We do that out of wounds, we do that out of fear, we do that out of separation, out of all this, like this dream that we are living. The world we live in is like this crazy dream of fear and lack and pain and suffering and taking, and it's not a dream we have to keep on dreaming. So allowing ourselves to see the wholeness of things, allowing ourselves to see the bigger picture and put our ego away as much as we possibly can, will allow us to thrive in a whole nother way on this planet. It is possible. It is possible. And people say to me, oh, well, people ain't gonna change, so it's not possible. Like, I'm sorry, but you're not supposed to focus on other people. If you're saying that, that is just an excuse you're making so that you don't have to change. It's not about other people. If you're saying that excuse to yourself, it's just an excuse because you don't want to change and you're projecting that onto other people. So taking responsibility for that and being like, oh, okay, I'm the one who doesn't want to change. Okay, well, let's go into that. That brings a whole other level of empowerment, because you can't change other people and you're not supposed to. But you're like, when people see you being in your truth, and when people see that there is another way, that can inspire them to change themselves. And that is the revolution, not forcing, not trying to get things our way because we think that's the way it's supposed to be, but empowering people to see things from their perspective and from a like heart, mind, soul, womb, like all of it plays, and not just from the mind and the ego and the fear. So this video became a whole lot longer than I wanted it to be, but that's the way it is right now. I had a lot to say. And yeah, so like I have repeated many times in this video, allowing yourselves to collaborate, allowing all of these parts of the human experience to collaborate and work with each other will bring so much more growth to like personal growth, but also collective growth and like planetary growth. Like it's just a whole other world to be living in. So reflect upon how you hold on to things that aren't working simply out of comfort, simply out of fear, and feel into if you really feel ready to change things and if you want it. And if you have doubts and fears, like that's normal, that's okay, work through those, be with yourself, because it all starts with yourself. And when you do that work, you begin to walk your talk, and then you inspire people to create change within themselves. So collaboration, change, growth, a new way of being, just that's possibilities. That is all possible. It's just up to each and every one of us to choose that. So I don't feel like I have any more to say. So thank you so much for watching, and reflect, be honest with yourself, and see if maybe there's another way. Bye.